Freedom reigns in this place. Showers of mercy and grace.
Good evening. You say a clap before a talk is an act of faith. A clap in the middle of a talk is an act of hope. And a clap at the end of a talk is an act of charity. So I don't know if you're in a charitable mood tonight, but we'll see. My name is McCrystal. I'm a pharmacist, father of 6. My wife and I have 6 children by miscarriage. We have 12 altogether. In the 7 short minutes that I have with you, I would very much appreciate the chance to speak uninterrupted, and I'll take any questions at the end. I'm taking a holistic approach tonight. I'm going to share with you in the 7 short minutes medical, scientific, testimonial, logic, and horror of horrors, the God view. That's a good response. I was expecting that. Now, so I'm dispensing with a slick presentation to win a vote because I believe young people, 20 years of age average, you deserve to hear the whole truth. We run Ask Magella pregnancy services, crisis pregnancy services. We have the leaflets here. If a woman, if a young lady, if any one of you lady come to see us in a state of crisis pregnancy, we promise you that we will look after you. We will tell you everything about abortion, and then you will be in the position to choose for an abortion or for not for abortion. But you will know all the information. And that's what I'm going to do in a few short minutes as well. And if any of you gentlemen who happen to be a dad and your girlfriend is in difficulties, come and talk to us. We will help you. Even if it's out of our own pockets, we will help you. The types of abortion, I had permission to do it on the overhead. I'm told now I don't have permission. I thought you folks would have deserved better to have been able to have seen the whole thing for what it really is, so I have to give it to you verbally. What is abortion? We're talking about legalizing it. Is it partial birth abortion? There's 5. Partial birth abortion, where a sharp instrument is put into the base of the baby's head while its whole body has been brought out of the birth canal with its head inside the birth canal. And while it's still living, the sharp instrument goes in, the scissors, they're opened up, a suction tube is put in the back of the head, brains are sucked out, and then the rest of the baby is delivered. What are we talking about? Are you talking about a suction abortion, where a D&E, where a sharp knife of a curve scrapes off the baby from the uterus lining, it's cut in pieces inside so it comes out, and then it's sucked out with a suction tube. A D&C is much the same. The saline abortion, 200 mils of saline solution injected into the uterus. The baby is poisoned. It suffers from brain damage and it dies. Mothers report that the baby is flailing around for a long time before it's dead, and when it comes out, it's copper cherry red, and all the skin is burnt off. Let's just decide what we're talking about. When I'm a pharmacist, I stopped dispensing the contraceptive pill in 1993 because of an abortive drug. And when I was making up my mind whether to do this or not, there was 2 verses of scripture changed my life. You deserve to hear them, so that you cannot say that you didn't get the chance to hear. I set before you life or death, blessing or curse. Choose life, that you and your descendants might live. That's the choice between each one of you tonight. You can vote for it. I don't mind if you vote for it, but know what you're voting for if you vote yes for abortion. The other verse of scripture is, who is the man who ascends the mountain of the Lord? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, and desires not worthless things. And I knew as I handed out those contraceptive pills as a pharmacist, I was not a man with clean hands. I gave up my job. I was unemployed for 3 years. I wrote 2 books. I've been on the radio and TV. I debate anybody on contraception and abortion. Maybe you might help me back someday. However, the reality is, the first time I saw an abortion picture, you may have seen it, I'm not going to show it, not allowed to show anything tonight, the baby's head over the jam jar. I don't know if you've seen it, I did. It changed my life. I looked at it and I said, I have to do something about this. I showed the picture to a young man, a 26-year-old, and he looked at the picture and he said, thank God I'm a virgin. He knew where abortion was coming from. He knew that abortion comes from intercourse with no intention of having the baby. And if the baby isn't lucky enough to be conceived, out it goes. He knew that his virginity saved that situation happening. Young ladies, you are precious. You are precious, and I say, dare I say it, in the eyes of God. And your bodies are priceless. And no man should avail of what's not his until he's ready to commit his whole life to you. No one else. Young men, are you man enough to say to a young woman, I love you enough to wait till I give my whole life to you? I have 6 babies by miscarriage. I held them in my hands. What does that mean? 1 minute? I held them in my hands. I looked at baby Samuel and I said, my darling child, I'm not able to change your nappies. That is what it meant. 7 weeks old. I'll show you the picture. I'm not allowed to put pictures up. I'll show you the picture. It's in my wallet at the end of the evening. It has hands, head, eyes, feet. It's not a blob of jelly. I held my child in my hand. Pro-choice. My body. You're a man. Freedom of choice. It's slogans. Strip them all down. There's 30 of them. There's nothing behind them. It's rhetoric. It's just sentimental, emotional rhetoric. Pro-choice, if you take it to its logical conclusion, means, are you pro-stabbing if a man has a knife? Is it okay for a rapist to rape? If you're pro-choice and you carry it through, that's the logic of it. Thank you. One more second. Whoever attacks human life attacks God himself. The words of John Paul II happens to be my hero of the 20th century. I set before you life or death, blessing or curse. Choose life that you and your descendants might have.
Freedom reigns in this place. Showers of mercy and grace. It's falling on every face. There is freedom. Freedom reigns. Freedom reigns in this place. Showers of mercy and grace. It's falling on every face. There is freedom. Lift your eyes to heaven. There is freedom. Lift your eyes to heaven. There